Okay, hello and welcome to Jeannie's Art Adventures, and today I'm just going to do a quick video showing you how I mix my paints. And one of the things that's really important is how thick the paint is. This one, whoops, if I can show you, this is golden, what do they call it, liquid acrylics or something like that, flow acrylics, and there's a tiny little bit in there, but that will take quite a lot of Floetrol. You only need a tiny bit, so yeah, I've probably got about 4 or 5 to 1 there. This one is a Royal and Langernickel yellow, and it's quite thick, see, so I'll probably do my usual sort of 1 to 1 mix. This one's a vallejo, trying to get it in camera there, and quite new, it's the first one I've done, and it's a gorgeous rich sort of dioxazine purple, but again it's not quite as thick as the yellow but still fairly thick, so I'll do probably again a 1 to 1. This is Floetrol in this little pot here, it's just easier for me to lift. Galleria, they're pretty much like the Royal and Langernickel in thickness, again you can just see, so it'll be 1 to 1 again. And then I've got this one is a metallic blue, which is Daler Rowney System 3. Normally they're more or less like the Winsor & Newton and the acrylic in the plain colours, but the metallics seem to be softer, so you know you won't need, although I do sort of more or less still a 1 to 1 on the Floetrol, it won't need as much water with that one. And then this is gorgeous turquoisey green Amsterdam acrylics, and again you say it's quite thick, and so scrape my last bit of Floetrol out. I'm not too hung up on exactly the right amount. You can weigh, you can measure, you can do all that. I tend to just do a bit of guess, and then I'll mix that thoroughly first. Always mix the paint into the Floetrol thoroughly to make sure, if you add the water all at once you can do it that way, but you really want to get the paint and the Floetrol or GAC 800 or Liquitex pouring medium, whatever you're using, you want to get that thoroughly mixed up first and then add your water. It's just, you know, then you're not going to get blobs of paint without pouring medium in it, and just make them sort of your thickness that you're comfortable with. The mixing I always find takes longer than the painting quite often. It's just, you can't spend too much time on mixing. It's always really important to get your consistency how you're happy with, and again, because people will say, well, you know, what's the recipe, how much. Can you just see that there? That's about right for me. It's sticking on the stick a little bit, but so it just kind of runs off. It might be just a tiny bit too thick still. So, but yeah, people will say, well, how much paint to pouring medium? And as I've shown you, it really depends on how thick your paints are, you know. I can't say to you it's 1 to 1 of this and add 2 parts water or something, because it all depends on how thick your original paints are. And that's, see how thick that is mixed with the Floetrol, and then that was slightly runnier, and then this one, you see that gorgeous purple coming out now. It's a lovely, lovely rich colour. Sometimes the purples tend to be very red or very blue. This is just a very rich purple. There's no kind of bias either way. So yeah, I'll just do this one and then I'll do the gold just to show you. And that's about it for me. Make my paints. I'll add some silicone if I want, or sometimes I don't bother. It depends what effects you want. Sometimes I just want the paint to flow and mix and not necessarily get obsessed about cells. You can get too hung up on getting cells, and there are some beautiful paintings without any cells at all. It just all depends on what you're looking for, and again, that's about right for me. I always have here my white and my black pre-mixed. I just put some Floetrol and water with these in the bottle, and if I can show you, that's, whoops, right. See, it kind of runs off, it's nice, and yeah, that's it. That's the consistency I want for my paints. And I do the white and the black because I use a lot of them, so it's just easier to have them pre-mixed. This is the gold. So Golden sent me some samples, which was really kind of them. And I've had great fun playing with those, and they really are lovely paints. And yeah, they are expensive, but they are just such rich colours. This looks really nothing now, but remember, it's the medium that will dry clear, and then you just get this lovely rich vibrant gold. So yeah, although they're expensive, I was saying about those, wasn't I? Although they're expensive, you don't need a lot of paint. So, you know, this compared to this looks ridiculously expensive, but I'll use much more of that to get the same. So it's all kind of relative, but yeah, they are lovely, rich, dense colours, and of course they are made for this pouring acrylic style. That might be a tiny bit too thick still. Sometimes I'll make metallics out of just mica powder and Floetrol or some other pouring medium and water, and I tend to pour them on the paintings afterwards because I find they sort of get lost in amongst the other paint. But when you've got a properly formulated metallic paint like these, then they are fine, they work really well. Still might be a tad thick. I always give another last little check when I'm putting the silicone in, because sometimes they seem to thicken up as they're standing. So that's it. That's how I mix my paints. Simple. You can do loads of different recipes. People use all sorts of different things, but for me, I've gone back to basics. It's just paint, the Floetrol, which is this one in the UK, and water, and that's it. And then I'll add the silicone as I want, and yeah, on another day I might add different mediums and different bits in there, but that's my basic mix. It's simple, it's easy, and it works for me. So thanks very much for watching. If you've got any queries, tuck them in the comments. If you want to see more of my work, I've got a blog over on Jeannie's Art Adventures. It's a WordPress one. And thanks for watching. Bye. Happy painting.